So I'll address three questions which I have come across, and this is definitely important. So first thing foremost, the question which comes all every time: is it necessary to learn coding, decoding, or Python? Coding, decoding, interesting. That's a in a way a little funny question. So no, to do AI, you do not need to know coding because to design AI strategies, specifically functional consultants should never learn coding, I would say. They should learn the data science part of it because you guys treat it's like you use Excel, so you knew Visual Base VBA script. That is okay. But going and becoming a developer, I would advise completely against it. That's my personal opinion. Reason being, see, the beauty with I'm a developer myself. I have been doing this for 15 years. I have like let's say a little experience here and there, worked with few big companies and all. The beauty with function as a developer, if suppose you say to me today that hey Hemant, I have this model, I have this data, I have this company's data, and can you build the price prediction or let's say forensic audit model for this? I cannot. Why? Because I don't have that knowledge that what these terms mean. That is why I require a functional consultant who will translate these things. But then suppose I have option to partner with two functional consultants. One who is a great accountant, someone who has a lot of finance background. Second, who might not have amazing finance background, he understands the finance, but he has a little background in mathematics or interest, and a little background in AI, or let's say a little interest in programming, at least little interest. He does not codes, but he has that kind of interest where he understands systems because they are different. So with him, I will gel a lot better. I will be able to communicate a lot better. The whole idea of doing all these sessions with you guys is that tomorrow, if some technical person like me works with you, uh, we both understand each other first of all, and these gaps get filled. You should not, neither I can play the role of the functional consultant, neither you should play the role of the technical developer. But the gap should be, because there is no line. People always think, okay, what happens right now? Currently, what happens? The functional consultant will come and they will present that this is the problem statement, and I want this application to be built in next 3 months. Or they'll ask the technical consultant that how much time do you think it will take? The technical consultant goes like, I think it will take like 3 months, 4 months. They're like, okay. Then the functional consultant comes back after 3 months. I'm sure some of you must have faced this issue also. And then they're like, oh, this is not we asked for. We asked for something else. This happens a lot. A lot of Salesforce project, Oracle projects have been going on for 5 years. Most of the times the issue is that the functional and the technical consultants are not able to gel together. Why? Not because they're not nice people, because there's this gap, right? The technical consultant, the functional consultant goes like, in forensic we can do this. The technical consultant has no idea about why, what audit means, or what forensic audit actually means, all these kind of terms, right? So there's both side gap, and a lot of times functional consultants do get the technical consultants to the level by having a KT or some kind of session. But to get a functional consultant on the technical side, it takes a little time because there is so much complexity, right? So now what the future looks like, the future looks like you come halfway, I'll come halfway, right? Where you understand little of my language, I understand little of your language. We design better solutions. The core part is to design. The most important part is to design. Execution can be done by anyone, TCS, small firms, large firms, Microsoft, anyone. The very important part comes to design the solution. You cannot have brute force, right? So that is where both the minds need to work together. Right now they work serially. One comes with the problem from the market, the second solves it, gives to the functional goes and sells. Then bad feedback comes, then the functional blames on the technical that you did not build this function, or this is working like this. Technical is like, this is what you told me. So there's a lot of blame games going on, right? Or even like large communication failures. So focus more on reaching to a level where you can discuss artificial intelligence with a technical person, not try to code it. That I would say the wrong direction. For example, a good test would be that you read enough about AI that you email someone who is working, let's say, on a fraud detection tool, and you're able to have a conversation with that person. You're able to discuss ideas, right, and understand their ideas. That means now you understand the technicalities. You have to reach to that level only, not going beyond that is okay, obviously, your personal choice. I can't advise against it. But like that on one side, I would say that is a good direction to head. Good way to test is where you can discuss with the technical people or projects. Okay. Okay. Now I'll take up the question quickly. We have risk analytics model. Is anybody developed AI for forensic audit? Yes, definitely. If you look for, there's so much research out there. AI for forensic audit, you'll come across a lot, right? Would like to know applicability of AI on audit procedures and backend services. Need to know example which are already in practice. So one of the most common artificial intelligence example in AI, which has been there for 20 years, I would say, is extracting the relevant information from the documentation. Okay, uh, it's very common. We have already mastered it. That is called it. It's also called data mining in some terms, right? That I have these company millions of or thousands of company documents, and I can quickly find out the relevant information. Right? That's one of the very common examples out there. And then RPA, like I'll discuss right now, I'll start. It's one of the examples of AI being used. In your case, I'll take those examples. Fraud detection is very high use of AI. Even for that matter, financial projections, like where is the company going to go? Prediction about the demand, prediction. For example, one of my friends, he runs this company. Now, it might be of some interest to some people who are involved in manufacturing, like people who are consultants for manufacturers. So he places these sensors on machines, like large manufacturing machines, where like when a machine is about to go down, the vibration increases. If you observe in your refrigerator and all these machines, so this his sensor is able to forecast using sensor data and artificial intelligence. The sensor will to forecast that the machine will go bad in few hours. It needs maintenance, right? You must have heard about this a lot, right? Predictive maintenance it's called. For a factory, this is a lot of cost saving because when machine goes down, you have to call someone. Predictive maintenance is lower cost. Maybe just oiling is required. The situation is not that worse. But once the machine is down, the production capacity goes down. You cannot open the machine because you have to call the engineers from that firm. So in a way, it's a loss, right? So that is one of the use of AI, which is you will come across, right? Then we would like to applicable to an audit procedure. I told her, how is AI going to impact the methods of auditing procedure followed by auditors? Okay, I'll give an example. Or I'll give you a pattern you can derive from your own. Um, if you see the jobs which are disappearing because of AI, and this is very important, the jobs which are disappearing because of artificial intelligence, those are the jobs which are repetitive in nature. Like just focus on that. All of the jobs which are the clerical jobs are disappearing. So whatever methods, and you all are very well versed in auditing procedures, whatever methods specifically are, repetitive in nature, they are going to disappear with time. And why? Because those are the only things which AI can actually solve. They are so dumb if you think about it. Sorry, coming from a technologist, but all the jobs which are repetitive in nature will disappear with AI. This is the large principle right now. In the future, it might be the creative jobs also disappear. So if you want to survive creativity, planning, this is where things will go. Now, how is AI going to impact the methods of auditing? So first principle, repetitive jobs disappear. Now what happens? The auditor has a lot of time. So auditor can focus on creating or seeking more patterns. The auditor can focus on creating more controls. The auditor can focus on creating more systems in check, right? So suddenly the design part of which people used to escape from what I know, will suddenly increase. So auditors who have a lot of focus on designing new controls, designing new strategies, coming up with very complex methodologies, their importance will grow. Auditors which are focused on the repetitive and the clerical jobs, that will get diluted because AI will replace all of that. Right? I hope I answered that question. Methods of auditing procedure and how will ICI get involved? So the way audit is continuous audit. Yes, continuous audit will come into picture because data crunching will be done automatically. But this is very ideal. Do not fall for that right now. Right now, what will happen is 60% of data, let's say the data which is backed by receipt, the GST data which is already verified, validated easily, that data will get treated by artificial intelligence for fraud detection, for categorization, which category this expenditure belongs to. All labeling will be done by AI, right? Even prediction. I told you there are two kinds of problems AI can do. Remember, categorization and prediction. कि in Hindi ये क्या है और ये कितना है. बस only these two problems AI can solve. They cannot replace us. We are very complex than AI computers right now. Okay, but most of jobs revolve around this only, like labeling. ये expenditure कहाँ आना चाहिए? Most of jobs revolve around this. Calculations, computers only do better calculations, right? Then, okay, now quickly, how to how's machine learning, AI, and data analytics related? Okay, so AI, artificial intelligence, is a generalized term. Artificial intelligence. Intelligence is a functionality mostly seen in humans. We observe in dolphins also. We observe in other animals also. But for now, because we are driven by money, right? So we want to imitate the intelligence of humans. So that comes under artificial intelligence. Now, machine learning is a branch under AI. AI is the umbrella term. Machine learning is like a branch. What does machine learning means? Machine learning means the ability to crunch lot of data and give certain predictions. To be in simple terms, if I tell you, right, it's like you make a child learn that, hey, this is a cat, A for apple, A for apple, A for apple. We are training a child to learn two things, A, one, and A for apple, and this is apple, three things actually. So similarly, we train a machine that, hey, this is risk, this is risk, this is low risk, this is high risk. So that's machine learning, right? Which is used a lot in AI. Now you can think about it. But something which is not machine learning AI, computer vision, OCR. OCR, I'm sure a lot of you should have come across by now, where the checks and the invoices are processed just by clicking photos. So that is not purely machine learning. That is, machine learning is used to after data extraction is done, but to get numbers out of the invoice on the on your server, you require computer vision. So that is not machine learning. Machine learning is about patterns. So machine learning comes under AI, not data analytics. So data analytics is more like you have data, now you want to find patterns. This is one step before machine learning. In data analytics, who finds the patterns? Humans. In machine learning, who finds the patterns? Machine. This is the only difference. Both refer around finding patterns first, finding patterns, and then deriving insights out of those patterns. Both of these revolve around that only. Generally, the stage that is seen, the progress in a company that is seen is a company first designs a data strategy, how they will collect data. Then they design a data analytics strategy, that how will their data team uh, find patterns, create insights, and what are their objectives, lowering the cost, increasing production, these kind of things. Then the third part, when they grow more, when the data grows more, they want to lower their data analytics cost, because if you think data analytics is a different cost center, it's not in their input cost in a way. So machine learning comes in where large scale of data can be dealt on a with lower cost and sometimes with much more accuracy. So this is, they all three are related. AI machine learning is like the branch in AI, and data analytics like the step before machine learning, which is done by manually, right? Okay. When we make projections, is it got cross-examined or as a tool by AI? I don't understand this question. From what I understand, uh, if we or if AI makes projections, it got cross-examined as a tool by AI. So manual, I'm not sure about the question. From what I understand, I'll just try to answer. Manual intervention is always required. Do not forget that manual intervention is not required. A human will always be required for two reasons. For example, today planes can fly on their own. There's autopilot, but still you require a human in the cockpit. So one is the psychological reason. The second reason is you want an observer. In any organization, there is worker, someone observing, worker, someone observing. So similarly in AI design, for now, there's this AI bot which is doing something, and there's this observer who's just checking the reports, everything is getting fine. So in a way that is required. So cross-examination is there, sampling is there in the starting most of the time, which you guys already know about, right? But for when the problem is of a very large scale, it becomes very difficult to do cross examination. Then what do? We develop statistical methods to verify, to cross examine. It's like there's an AI model running, and then there's another model running over that model, right? To verify that everything is working fine, because as humans we cannot consume a lot of information, right? So that is there. Okay. How to start developing an IP for a particular problem? Do we need to draw a strategy or a flowchart or something else? I get these questions a lot. Like this is the I think this is the starting for AI. So just jumping onto this won't be fair. But how do you develop intellectual property? Uh, I would advise forget that for now. Read research papers. Read research papers written by finance professionals on artificial intelligence. Just start from there. You will develop this habit that one day you'll develop your own intellectual property, because to even develop an IP, first you need to research, you need to understand the frontiers, the challenges, the problems. Just an idea is not enough at the end of the day, right? So I would say World Bank and these famous big financial institutions have created very, like, you are finance professionals, I'm a technologist. I love those papers. I would even, if required, share, but since all of you might belong to different backgrounds, so not necessarily my people will help all of you, or might get technical for a little people. For example, just read a fraud detection paper, right? Because just see what happened. First, understand the limitations. Then think about getting your feet dirty. See, you can be in two modes. One, you can be in the consumer and the mode that where you are using an AI application and being an AI consultant. On the second, you could be someone who's the inventor. Right now, no, I keep want to keep your spirits high, but right now, do not go to the inventor phase. Focus on the current applications, focus on the research, focus on making using what is already there. See, no one plans to invent. First, remember that whoever asked this question, no one says that I want to be inventor, I want to invent. It happens. Inventions are mostly accidents. Like uh, Albert Einstein researched for 10 years in a room. He reached the answer 1 year before, but he realized he thought that's a wrong answer. He went on for 1 year. It was an accident, right? When he reached the same answer again. So yeah, inventions are generally accidents. They happen by curiosities. So throw yourself in research, read research papers, get involved with people who are building tools if you want to go down that path of intellectual property, and the miracle will happen. Planning something is not possible. I'm sorry, like, because sometimes these questions, with all due respect, these questions come out of our nature of greed, that how can we benefit from this? See, money in general is a byproduct at the end of the day for our pursuits. So that is going to happen once you involve yourself enough, it's going to happen. Okay. When we make projections, we got this in whether AI will succeed in India, because India is labor-intensive country, and if AI will succeed, then employment increase. Okay, I love this question. Unemployment. See, unemployment. First, all of you have to understand the idea of this is the idea of 9 to 5, because this is artificial intelligence also involve the philosophical aspects of it. So unemployment is one of the very important philosophical aspects, right? Uh, 200 years ago, we did not even had a watch. Wearing a watch in our hand was not a habit because we did not care for the time. We were not factory workers. When factories came, when industrial revolution came, then only wearing a watch became important. Before that, there was a watch in a city, just one clock tower in every city. Later, and today, it matters so much that what time is there in US for us because the clients are there. So before also, not everyone used to work. People were still happy. When we were farmers, purely farmers, there was no idea of employment. Mostly in India, like you said, India is a labor-intensive country. In India, India was the most self-employed country at one point of time, and we were really happy people. Historically, it's the Britishers who came and made us industrial. We were not industrial. We are still not industrial, actually, if you think about it. We are very, in our families also, we have this habit of self-dependency or independence. So unemployment is not a problem. The unemployment issue comes like someone living in a city is not able to match the needs because of the capitalistic issue. So that is a very different dynamics. AI will work in India. AI is working in India for two reasons. Very cheap labor we have, right? Opposite to what? So we can experiment more basically, right? And secondly, lot of work from abroad comes to India. So as artificial intelligence developers, India is getting a lot of experience thanks to the like because if you see 20, 25 years it has been since India has been the center for technological development. US has been the center for since 70s or you can say 50s for that matter, right? And last 25 years internet happened, social media happened, and now AI is happening, right? So we are at a very good position if you think about it. So AI is in farming. We are using AI so much in India. The reason, like Pepsi is using artificial intelligence farming to predict their crops, to predict the water input of the crops. So it is happening. It's in the background. Banks are using AI every day. Like you go on a bank website right now, you will find an agent, not a human agent, an AI agent trying to talk to you, right? So AI is being used definitely. From where can we get those research papers? There's a question. Uh, I would say Google Baba Zindabad. You just search for, pick your favorite topic, pick your uh, pick your favorite topic in your like audit, forensic. Put artificial intelligence research. Just Google for this. You will find some paper. Google is brilliant at combining keywords, right? So you will find some research paper on that for sure. If you don't, I'm sure my email will be shared after this. Feel free to drop in, but please do a Google and then come to me because then I might feel bad. Okay, areas where AI is being used extensively. Where do you think the new rays will be captured by AI and the speed of it? This is very difficult to predict, like where they'll be captured because every day these things are changing. Like for example, like Corona. I'll just give an example. It might be relevant to you. One of my so in US, the five universities have come together, formed their uh, they have formed a consortium to research on corona from a computational perspective. They're using AI to understand the DNA and the RNA of the RNA of the corona, which is similar to DNA. You understand, right? And to see how can we predict the future strains or the future evolution of corona, and we can develop the medicines right now that we know after 6 months this is how corona strain would be. I'm kind of helping them out with the data and all. I'm one of the advisors on that board. So the beauty is, we never knew we use AI for Corona, but suddenly someone got this idea and they are using. Then they got more people involved. So it's more about problem. Do not do not think like AI is made for specific. It's a tool. AI is a tool. AI is a tool about understanding patterns when there's a lot of data, classification, labeling, and prediction, right? In basic terms. So it can be used everywhere. Tomorrow, we'll have these glasses, which when we look at an ad, it will tell us what price it is. Tomorrow, we'll have these apps which will suggest groceries to us. Even assistants are a very good example for AI. If you see scheduling, meeting scheduling between people, it's all like getting replaced by these artificial bots, right? What is the process of developing AI? Developing AI, AI is a very blanket term. Again, I would repeat, AI is a very blanket umbrella term. Uh, a good strategy, step by step, would be, if I tell you, step one, identify the type of problem. If the problem is not about classification, by classification I mean putting it in a bucket, or the problem is not about prediction, by prediction I mean a number is missing, only one number is missing. If the whole row of Excel is missing, AI cannot do anything. Only one of the column, one of the cell is missing. Okay, then AI comes into the picture. Like let's say is a large Excel sheet. So one, see whether that problem is an AI problem or not. Question number one. Question step two, see what kind of data you have. Now I'll give you the magic which they say if you need to have a great AI solution, you should have a variance of a data. If you have a very good distribution of the data, you'll have a very amazing strong model. If you have same data and lot of that same data, you'll have a very bad model. For example, to make you understand simply, if a human has lived only in a village and seen only some kind of houses, he won't be able to classify all kind of houses. He won't be able to say, okay, this is also a house. Someone who's traveled a lot, they will be able to identify a lot of houses. So if you see, suppose I want to make for fraud detection for banks, for these Paytm, let's say these wallets are coming up, and as a consultant, I am designing, let's say, a fraud detection box for these micropayments. Micropayments are very different from bank payments. Always remember that. Bank payments have a lot of time period. Banks have more data on you than these micropayment companies. So the problem is totally different. Fraud detection from bank transaction is a different problem than fraud detection for these micropayments. Like dig a lot more. Also, you can find research papers on fraud in banks and artificial intelligence. You'll see the patterns. Pick a topic of research which you have a lot of experience in, and add AI to it and read a research paper. You will see what I'm trying to talk about, right? So, okay, developing AI. Step one, identify the problem, classification, prediction. Step two, see the quality of data, whether data has enough variance or not, distribution is there or not. Step three, do you have enough data or not? What is enough? Enough, excuse me. Enough is depends on the problem again. Sometimes 1,000 rows are sufficient, but most of the time in finance, from what I've experienced, 3 years of data at least is required. 3 years of lot of data, right? At least is required for fraud detection or these kind of problems, right? And okay, the last question is any certification course on recognized user AI and blockchain. There are a lot of them, like certification courses, a lot of them. ICI runs this course. We are one of the faculties, me and Shailesh. Even Khurana sir has been one of the participants of this course. This is where sir and we met. Uh, I would say like ICI has one of the lowest cost courses out there, if I'm not wrong. Other people are also doing it. But I'm a little against jumping directly for certification courses because see the times are now skills. Now for consulting, the certification does not help. It is not that you get the certification, you get a project. Because companies have changed their strategy of allocating consultants. So first, delve deep enough, solve a problem. I would say get involved with people who are solving these kind of problems. In the course, automatically you'll end up doing a certification course. Okay. So quickly, I'll go through the slides now because robot robotic RPA is one of the very popular topics. Now, RPA is a specific branch. Hello, Kunasan, am I audible? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So
Yes,
now RPA is a specific branch in AI. It's nothing new, RPA technology has been there since 80s. All of you know about it. It was called macros in a way. The large consultancies pre-package them and now sell them. But we have come up with a different application. It does. Why is macros were always there, but now why RPA is so much valuable? If you think every company uses 100 different tools, right? And these tools do not talk to each other on the back end. So what the consulting companies proposed, hey, you know what? Your clerical jobs, which is involve click, click, copy, paste, click, click, upload, repetitive jobs, we will bring this bot which will do the same thing on your screen, and you will save time. There'll be a codeless automation, all these kind of jargons or consulting jargons are floating around, right? But I'll take you simply, first I'll break down quickly what is RPA and why is it AI, then maybe little case studies. We have a little less time, I would think, and then we'll see from there. Shailesh should have been here. I think Shailesh is having difficulties in connecting in the okay. Now, what is robotics process automation? These questions I already discussed. These still I'll just go through slides because it's so topics hyper true. There are many good reasons it's exciting. True. AI refers to the broad field of science encompassing not only computer science but also psychology, philosophy, linguistic, and other areas. This is very important. See, we do not draw lines between subjects for that matter. If you want to actually enter, for example, you guys are auditors. You're the best people to understand that to be an expert you need to have different understanding of different fields. I mean, even as CAs you have to learn with so many subjects, and I mean today a CA is learning in AI. It's such a different thing, so you guys understand there's no lines. So simply AI is a very broad field and encompasses all these things also. These aspects should not be and cannot be ignored. Okay. Last line I already discussed. Just a second. My my computer is not able to take the load. Huh, interesting. I was running a simulation right now, so my computer is slow. Sorry for that. Yeah. Okay. Key characteristics of AI system. To just big data. There is a lot of structured and unstructured data. So big data generally refers to. Okay, I want to talk about this. I always talk about this in my lectures. We have been hearing about big data from 2008, 2010, but I'm sure very few of the participants or attendees today must have seen big data, right? So similarly, we do talk about big data, but like it's more of like a lot of data in AI. Reasoning, ability to reason and to draw inference based on situation, context driven awareness of the system. Your Google Home, your Siri is a very good example of context driven awareness. For example, if you say to Siri, hey Siri, how's the weather? Then you say to Siri, hey Siri, are there any movie shows around? Then you say to Siri, I want to go to a movie. So you are giving a context. There was a context in the background. It's very difficult to develop all these kind of systems, context driven, because as a human, it's very difficult to understand them. We have to teach our kids. Like we spend lakhs of rupees on our kids to make them context aware. So it's difficult. Learning, ability to learn based on historical patterns. This is very common. I'll discuss this. Problem solving, obviously, this is okay. Now, what is robotic process automation? That's the crucial part. Okay, like I told you, machine learning is a branch or a part inside AI. Similarly, RPA is more inside this whole circle. I won't read from the slide. I'll just give you a very simple idea, and you can make this your principle for RPA, like very basic one-liner. If a job requires repetitive clicks in a computer, it can be automated. Like if a human, for example, let's say, yeah, this is a very good example. I think you all might relate to it. Checking the details of a company from the MCA website, right? A lot of people have developed the APIs also nowadays, but you require the same process, repetition of same. Open Chrome, type in with MCA, go to this particular section, enter the company name or ID, then search, then retrieve. So if you see, it's the repetitive of same steps to retrieve information or complete a task. repetitive clicks, I would say, right? This is where RPA comes in the picture. RPA is a simple program which will do the same thing for you on the computer. Okay, I won't read the slide. Okay. Yeah, this is very important. What RPA is, RPA is a computer coded software. It's not a physical hardware. It's not a robot sitting there. It's cheaper and faster to automate processes which are repetitive. Again, repetitive processes, repetitive, not like any process. Like if in a process it is required for a human to make a decision. For example, which bank should I send this invoice to? Which company should I send this invoice to? If a human is involved, then RPA will play a role only for a certain part of that. Okay, what it is not multi-technology deployment. It is not like Salesforce. It is cross-functional, cross-application macros basically. It is not AI. I won't say it is not AI, but it is not that expectation of AI. It's not something smart. It is just repetition, right? It's like you hired someone to do the job for you, right? It's more like that. And after this, if we go forward, this is again. Uh, this I can take you through this, but this okay. Let's say all of you might relate. So vanilla RPA, vanilla RPA is the basic RPA. That is like basic. The second comes RPA plus OCR. Now, what is RPA explained? RPA robotic process automation macros. OCR is optical character recognition. I have a photo of invoice, I can get data from there. So this is a very common practice. Someone gets an invoice in the warehouse, they look at the invoice, they type in the details, put in the system. Same process, repetitive process. So with RP and OCR, what we can do, we can take a photo of the invoice, read from the invoice the data, and update the system. So this is RP plus OCR combined. So vendor invoice processing, vendor master updation, these all things come in the RP OCR. Now the third step three, cognitive RPA. See, all these are jargons, okay? Like cognitive RPA, workflow. So cognitive RPA plus workflow plus OCR is rise of intelligent automation. All these are jargons thanks to consultants like us and you. But let's understand what is the difference. In cognitive, so RPA repetition. RPA OCR means data and repetition. Cognitive RPA just one more step. It gets a little decision making power. It develops a little intelligent decision making where this happens, then do this. If this is from this bank, for example, spend analysis, right? Issue exception management. That if issue is of this type, so suppose I make a program that if issue has there been for 3 days, uh, do this. So this is a little decision making involved, right? Or okay, if the invoice is older than 7 days, then do not upload it, raise an alert, right? Now this is a decision making flowchart. So this is cognitive. This comes into the picture, right? Okay. Benefits, you all can think about it in because there are a lot of benefits. More important, it never stops, right? It's not benefit for everyone. If there is sometimes we don't even use the app at full capacity, but it never stops. That's a big advantage for some applications. Cost reduction. Yes, there's a in US, no, sorry, in UK there was this project one of the big four did, very famous project. They replaced, if you know, all of you must be knowing this, in the home loan department, there is so much verification from the government websites, and all this is done for every paperwork. They replace the whole process with RPA, like manually, because it's a repetitive process. I give you my papers, you check that against around different five websites. I give you my financials, you check that against five different government websites, right? Whether I'm giving the right data or not. So this is a repetitive job. They replace it using RPA. My one of my friends was leading the project, so I saw the kind of difference. Literally, they replaced 30 clerks in like 1 month. um, and the pricing model is very different because you guys are all consultant. You should also know. In macros, the pricing model was about the software, the license. In RPA, the pricing model goes around per seat. See the business sense change. In macros, it was I'm giving automation. In RPA, I'm replacing your agent. So the pricing model changes. Right? You can think about it. Speed increase is there. Quality Practically depends because in a lot of RPA systems, humans are still involved these days. RPA implementations are suffering. Most of the RPA implementations are simple, but when people expect a lot, then they are suffering these days. From my experience, at least, right? Valuable work employees can focus on other tasks through short payback period, scalability, internal control. That's very important, right? That like compliance and checks can be easily performed using RPA. That's something which you should explore more. Like compliance and RPA are very interesting because compliances are sometimes a repetitive process, like doing the same things. Okay. Okay. So this is invoice print three-way matching with the RPA. If you look at it, so there's associate who manually scans invoice, scan invoices, put in shared drive, then email. Now here with RP, what happens? Data extraction, OCR or ICR to get UNGR number from the invoice. Then the RPA automatically logs to RP, duplicate check by invoice number. This is what RPA does. But you have to train your RPA to do that. You have to. This is where functional consultants come in. I can create an RPA. I've written RPA softwares. I can actually write a very good RPA software. But without you guys, I cannot train it to do something. Like I do not know that invoice number duplicate should be checked. I'm not a financial guy, right? So, but this is very important for companies. So this is where this partnership matters a lot. Search PO number and receipt number in ERP. RPA does it. Okay, there's a three-way match, three-way exception processing queue, update invoice header. If the queue clears, then park entry in ERP and validation. Okay, there's one question: how a small or mid-sized firm use RPA? Invoice processing is something which mid-sized firms are using for mostly, but most of the mid-sized firms which are using RPR, these kind of firms, micro loans giving firm, which have a lot of paperwork involved, which have a lot of paperwork and a lot of software involved. They have to move from data from one software to another for their process. Let's say loan giving firm or a firm which gives valuation. They have to check the data from a lot of sources. So RPA they are using for that, right? RP opportunity in the finance function, I would say I will share the slide. This is low and this is just like low and high and medium, right? I'll share the slides there. You can actually go through and I would just Google a little bit also around it, right? Okay, now implementation of the RPA. Again, I repeat, RPA is a small box in the large AI universe. Okay, RPA is the dumb version of AI, I would say. It's not taking decisions, it's imitating clicks, first of all. If you make it more intelligent, things grow. Okay, so robotics lifecycle, identify the process, checklist. There is always this checklist. The process should be repetitive in nature. I am emphasizing again and again, the process should be repetitive in nature. If it's very complex process, very diversifying, it won't, RPA won't help. You will end up burning your hands. And this is what happens. People come with the expectations. Hey, I went to this conference. I heard about RPA. I'll implement RPA in my company. And they pick a very complex process because complex processes have more problems. So they think RPA will be able to solve this problem. As a consultant, I would advise always implement RPA first on a simple problem in a company. Make them trust that tool. Make sell them that tool that hey, see if for a simple process it can bring so much efficiency, then let's tackle a complex process. Okay. Okay. So identify the process. One, check the process, collect information, like here the operations and business analysts are talking. Then discover the process. What do? We go and sit with the person. We exactly watch each click because sometimes people give lack of understanding. They say, no, it's a repetitive process. It's not a repetitive process. They take decisions. They're not aware about themselves. Then document the process. Documentation of process is required for a person like me. And even for bot automation, even for any automation, this is the process in any company. If you want any kind of automated automation, not just RPA, this is the way we go about it, or anyone will go about it. Then build the robot. So till step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, functional consultant was involved. Okay, now step 5, I come into the picture, right? Sorry, 6, build the robot. Step 5, now test the robot. For testing the robot, functional consultants play a very important role. They exactly tell what use cases, penetration, stress testing, deploy the robot, run the robot, maintain the robot. These are standard for any software for that matter, right? RP vendor landscape. There are these famous companies: Automation Anywhere, Blueprint, UiPath, Perfusion. Uh, from my personal inclination, not promoting anyone, I design my own softwares, but I would say UiPath has a free version. Okay, you should download that. Play. It's very easy. It just you can download that and use UiPath to design a RPA on sending an email. Right? It's so easy that you'll download the software, run the software, and then it'll ask you to make clicks. When you make the clicks, it will record what clicks you have made and then automatically replay them. So UiPath, you can download the enterprise version for free and test it. I would advise you to do that. If anyone is interested in any other, you can go for that. But I would advise run one RPA. Do not just watch a YouTube video. Download it. These days, RPA developers are making a lot of money. You guys are can anyway work remotely. This work can be done remote. Okay. Then yeah. So that was RPA vendor landscape. So this brings me to the end of the at least this presentation. I'm sorry we started a little late. Now, any questions you can pass on the chat, and again I'll just quickly encapsulate what we have discussed. AI is not solution to all the problems. AI can solve only specific kind of problems, prediction and classification. But these are very large scale problems. Like prediction is a very big, very wide problems. Classification, very wide problem, right? A lot of things can be done using. As humans, we do that only. We predict that rain is going to happen or something bad is going to, or we classify, hey, that you're a good guy, you're a bad guy, right? A brain, majority of the brain classifies and predicts. So AI Today, AI is capable of doing that. Today, AI is not capable of creative thinking. The way we think, like we connect these two dots, AI cannot do that today. If tomorrow it starts doing that, we are doomed. Our creative jobs will be gone. Okay, so AI one. Now AI is not a threat to our jobs. AI will make our lives easier because repetitive processes will be taken away. So if your major money making work right now is repetitive, start reskilling yourself, upskilling yourself, move to more creative. To be safe, like in Corona, to be safe, you have to stay inside the home. In AI times, to be safe, you have to focus on the creative skills, right? Uh, okay. Now, third, to design AI systems, what do we need? First, a problem statement, whether it's a classification or a prediction problem. Second, do we have most distribution of data, variance of data? Now, do we have enough data? Variance is more important than amount of data. If amount of data is less, with time we'll get more data. But variance of data is important to develop a model in AI, right? It's similar to, let's say, you know only about high value transactions, so you get biased to think like that. So you need to have more data, more variance of data, right? Then we talked about like the pipeline you can develop. You do not need to learn coding, definitely not. And then we talked about RPA. RPA is a very small part of AI, but why it's so important right now? It's affecting the life of auditors on a very high scale. Even ICI is supporting RPA on a very large scale. They have partnered with, I don't know, they have partnered with some of the firms also for provide licenses. And yeah, so RPA is a very weak form of artificial intelligence, I would say, but very effective right now. Very effective.